Hello everybody, this is Pastor Adah. Welcome back to my channel. All right, you know what? I want to talk about something very interesting today. I want to talk about greatness. You know, I want to become great, and I know you also want to become great. But the question is, how do we attain greatness? What does Jesus have to say about greatness? All right, just come with me to Matthew 18, 1-4. Matthew 18, 1-4. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus saying, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And calling to him a child, he put him in the midst of them and said, "Truly I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child, he is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven." Right, friend, we are talking about greatness. So what does Jesus have to say about greatness? Now, the disciples came to Jesus with a question, "Master, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" Jesus did something they did not expect him to do. When they asked the question, he called a child. He said, "Come." He called a child. And he set him in their midst. And he said, "Look at this child. Unless you become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." Now, he told them to become like children. I don't know how many of us would want to become like children. You know, if someone tells you are like a child, you take it as an abuse. If someone tells you, a grown-up person, you should become like a child, you take it as an abuse. But Jesus told these grown-up men, family men, they had wives, they had children. Interestingly, Jesus told them, if you want to enter the kingdom of heaven, become like a child, then you will enter. Very interesting. You see, Jesus set a child as a model for them. He did not call Peter or John or James and set them in their midst. He called a child. I think Peter thought maybe he would say, "Master, I will be the greatest in the kingdom." Maybe they thought Jesus would say, "John, you will be the greatest in the kingdom." You know, these men had left their everything and followed the master. They had forsaken their lands, their monies, their families, and most of the time they were with Jesus, so they knew the master would reward them in the kingdom. Now, they thought he would give them great positions in the kingdom. Well, they had forsaken everything, all right, but you see, that was not enough to make them the greatest in the kingdom. You know what? I know you have forsaken some things for the sake of the master. I have forsaken some things for the sake of Jesus. But there is something more we need. Something more we need to be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven, or to be great in the kingdom of heaven. So Jesus said, "Look at this child. The one who wants to be great should become like this child." He said, unless you change. He's calling for change. Unless you change and you become like a child, you never enter the kingdom of heaven. And then he said, whoever would be great, the greatest actually, in the kingdom of heaven, let him be like this child. Now, Jesus, are you serious? You want us to become like children? In what way? You know, children have got ways we don't like. They are very talkative. They talk around the clock. So Jesus, do you want us to become like kids? Be talkative like them around the clock. Jesus, do you want us to be playful like them? You know, they play a lot. They play a lot, so many hours. Jesus said, no. I am not talking about being playful like them. I'm not talking about, talking around the clock like them. I am talking about humility. Yeah? Jesus said, if you want to be the greatest in the kingdom, acquire the humility of a child. acquire the childlike humility. Now, you see, when Jesus set the child in their midst, he didn't set him there to be taught, rather for them to teach him or instruct him or guide him. No, he set him in their midst for them to learn from him, or by him rather. All right, now, tonight, I want you and I to learn by children. You know, we like teaching them. We like instructing them. But do we learn by them? Now, tonight, I want you and I to learn by children. All right. How are we going to learn? Let's bring here and bring together a child of a millionaire. Number 2, we bring a child of a professor. Number 3, we bring a child of a great preacher. Number 4, we bring a child of a restroom cleaner. Number 5, we bring a child of a beggar. And we put them together here in one room. Do you know? Watch them. After 5 minutes, these children will be playing. No degrees. None is greater, none is lesser. They will start playing, and if you bring food on the same plate, on one plate, they will all eat from the same plate. The child of a millionaire, the child of a beggar, the child of a restroom cleaner, the child of a great preacher. They will become friends in no time. That's how humble kids are. A child will not say, I am a child of a millionaire. What do I have to do with a child of a beggar? I am a child of a great preacher. My father travels in nations preaching. I cannot play with a child of this restroom cleaner at our church. They don't look at those degrees. They don't have degrees. But the disciples came with a question about degrees. Who is the greatest? Peter wanted to be the greatest. John wanted the master to say, you are the greatest. But you know, with God, that is not the way he looks at greatness. All right, now, we have learned something from these children, from these kids. They will play together, eat together. And if the millionaire comes and calls the son, the little child, come, my son, I want to take you to the beach. The child will say, Dad, wait a minute. I'm still playing with my friend. My friend, and who is a friend? The son of a beggar, the son of a restroom cleaner. This is a friend of the child of a millionaire. All right. We have learned something from children. Now, let's bring together the grown-ups. Let's bring together a millionaire, a professor, a great preacher, a restroom cleaner, and a beggar. And then we put them in one room. Just watch them. After 10 minutes, the millionaire will get up. He'll excuse himself and say, I'm going for a business venture. Off he will go, and he'll go to have lunch with his fellow millionaires. The professor will get up. He'll go to meet his fellow intellectuals. They'll sit together at table, have dinner. From there, they'll discuss their matters. And then the great preacher, he will get his big Bible, put under his arm, and off he will go to preach. He's a man of God. And they will leave the beggar and the restroom cleaner alone in the room. They have nothing to do with them. These ones, the two, the beggar and the restroom cleaner, they are of low degree. They are not great. They have nothing to do with them. They leave them there and go and meet the fellow great ones, the great millionaires, great preachers, the great professors. They leave these two alone in the room. Nothing to do with them. They cannot sit with them and eat at the same table. These ones are of a low degree, of low class. May the Lord help us. Now you see, the millionaire and the great preacher and the professor, they think that they are great. In their own eyes, they are great. Now, mark this. They are only great in their own eyes, but not in the eyes of God. Not in the sight of God, not in the sight of Jesus. Jesus said, the one who humbles himself like this little child is the greatest. He didn't say the one who behaves like a millionaire in his bigness, or who behaves like a great preacher in his greatness, is the one who will be the greatest in the kingdom. No, the one who is who humbles himself like this little child. Now, can we learn something tonight? Can we learn something tonight? I want to be great, and I know you want to be great. Let's learn from these little children tonight. We have brought them together here. We have brought the grown-ups together. Let's learn something from the little children, not from the grown-ups. There's nothing to learn from that class of people we have brought here, the grown-ups. But we have something to learn from the little children. They have taught us a lesson of humility. Humility. And so, may God help us. If you want to be great, if I want to be great, let's learn from these little children. You see, the way to greatness is humility, no other way. We are living in a world whereby we are setting degrees and standards. The high class, the low class, the educated, the non-educated, the poor, the garbage pickers. We are grading people, but listen, God does not grade people. The disciples came, who is the greatest? They wanted to be the greatest. Who is the greatest? God does not grade that way. I want to be great. May the Lord help me personally to be humble. And I know you want to be great. Let that be your prayer. Let it be your prayer to acquire the humility of a little child. May the Lord help us. I hope we have learned a lesson tonight. God bless you. Shalom. See you next time.